Welcome to Bloody Good Horror, covering the best and worst of the horror genre since Halloween 2007. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another, maybe exciting isn't the word tonight, maybe soul-searching is the word, episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric. I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be discussing Calibre. Confession, I'd love to know if I'm the only one who thought the name of this movie was Calibre.
No.
Until
100%.
Until literally the end credit came up, and I went, Calibre! Like, it didn't make sense until the end of the movie did I put this together.
I had been pronouncing it Calibre, and then I finally Googled, like, they can't possibly be talking about the goddamn font.
I was
and
like,
then it came up with the definition. I'm like,
also like Calibre seems like a weird title for a Scottish movie.
Yeah, but I assumed it was something like I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Like
the only reason I didn't assume it was Calibre because I've been reading the Scottish people Twitter subreddit.
Oh,
so I knew they wouldn't get there.
Okay. Joining me tonight, first up, he's confusing me because he lives in Chicago, but he's wearing a Yankees hat. He also likes to drink. Please welcome Joe.
You're confusing me because it's a Mets hat.
Oh, but in the Yankee colors, though.
He clearly wasn't paying attention when we had that conversation.
No, John, I was trying to make...
time in the last 15 minutes. One, the Yankees colors are not black and white, and two, it's a Mets hat.
How are they not black and white? They're like blue. Aren't they like dark royal navy blue and white?
It's like a very dark blue, yes.
Yeah.
You're not crazy, Eric. I said the same thing to him.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
And I live in New York.
I have literally never seen a Mets hat that wasn't blue and orange. Until tonight.
Can't possibly be true either.
Here we are. Next up on the show, the high priestess of books and things, Bloody Good Horror, coming to you from Hotlanta, Georgia. Please welcome Cece.
Hello.
That's what you guys call it, right?
No, that's not. But, it's okay. I still love you, so I'll deal with it.
Hotlanta, Georgia. Next up on the show, y'all, please welcome tonight in his best I just got my GED costume. Please welcome the business manager at bloodygoodhorror.com, John Schnars. Actually, no, tonight's more like I failed my GED costume.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's like 1980s sitcom sports writer.
Yeah, I was going to say the earbuds really add to the outfit. I like it.
I was going to say like family sitcom, and the teenage son has a friend who gets him into a lot of trouble, and that's Schnars. Like Schnars' boner. Yeah. Basically.
Or like somebody's about to show up on your door with like your kid that's like 8 and you didn't realize you had. You're gonna have to lose your bachelor lifestyle. Oh, there's pizza on the coffee table from like 3 days ago, John. How are you gonna raise a kid?
Yeah.
Here we are, guys.
So yeah, anyway, last up on the show tonight, please welcome Casey.
Hello.
Casey just looks like Casey.
I look like what?
Just looks like Casey.
Yes.
She's not cosplaying as anyone tonight. So how about this movie, Calibre?
Calibre. I only knew that it wasn't Calibre because someone else was telling me about the movie and they pronounced it Calibre, and I was like, oh, it's about a gun.
Like, yeah, literally the end credits, I'm like, oh, this whole movie's about guns. Now I literally did like my eyes got really big.
I mean, I once I realized it was a Scottish movie, I was like, oh, that's what this is about. But yeah, I definitely thought it was Calibre.
Hey, John Schnars.
Yes, Eric.
Why don't you tell us about our recently announced Halloween spooky time activity we're putting together?
I think Joe should probably talk about it because he probably knows the most.
You mean Joe, our resident Yankees fan?
Yes, resident Yankees fan, Joe. Yeah, that'd be great.
Literally, I feel like listeners should know that before the show.
I was trying to get the damn show
only
to
giving
work.
John updates as far as like what John, I'm gonna be ready to go in like a couple minutes, and Cece, Casey, and I were just sitting here like, all right, that's cool.
I hate you guys.
Guys, I wasn't on the show last week. Yeah, he misses me. I get it.
I haven't been on the show in 2 weeks, and I mean, it's like
Wait a
I
minute.
wasn't even here.
Schnars, are you literally in that costume?
I
Are you,
see, so-
Schnars, are you in that costume drinking pork slap?
No, it's a Dale's Pale.
Oh, gotcha.
I've been on the show for the last 3 weeks, and it's like I'm not here. Yes, the first ever Bloody Good Horror virtual 5K is coming, my friends. We talked about this last week, but if you are not on Facebook and you're looking for details, you can hop over on our website now because bloodygoodhorror.com also has info. How this is going to work is the weekend of October 27th. So that's Saturday, October 27th and Sunday, October 28th. What you'll do is you'll go outside, you'll run a 5K, which is 3.1 miles, if I am not mistaken. Using any app of your choosing. So that's Runkeeper, Nike Plus, there's Couch to 5K, there's a handful of others. Anything that's going to track your distance. You'll take a screenshot when you finish, and if possible, send us a link to your posting as well. Like I know Runkeeper actually tracks everything online. Send that to bloodygoodhorror@gmail.com. We're going to tally up all the runners and then send out some cool stuff to everybody that participated. The top 3 are going to get some cool stuff. We're in talks with the fella Jeff, who did our 10-year anniversary poster, to do something different for this that we're going to send out to a few folks. So it should be super cool. The entire thing is free. It's just our way of kind of having a good time, because we've all been kind of talking about exercising on the Slack channel there. So we thought it'd be fun to put this together. So yeah, more info coming, but that's pretty much the breakdown of it. I think we're going to try and schedule a couple like pre-run events like on a Saturday or Sunday where we all just go out and run, and you guys can kind of do that with us. And then I think we'll try and coordinate some times on either that Saturday or Sunday of the actual race where we'll run. And if you guys want to do it while we're doing it at the same time, we can kind of coordinate that. But more info to come. And yeah, it should be a good time.
What I would really like is like a Joda 5K, which is like a running schedule, but also a drinking schedule. So like if you want to get ready for the race, this is what Joe does. Like Thursday, eat smoked meats, drink 7 beers. Friday, long run, like that kind of a thing.
It's called carbo loading.
Yeah.
You get a meat load before the race.
This might be too much information, but I was doing a lot of research before my last marathon, and apparently making love the night before does not hinder your racing performance.
Oh.
And some people have actually found that your times are better.
I don't know, Joe. I feel like it drains your manly fluids. You know what I mean?
All I'm saying is, the last marathon I ran, I got the best time I've ever had of 6.
All right.
Oh, Jesus.
So Joe endorses that then, pre-5K. So there you go.
Yeah.
Just saying. But yeah, no, it should be great. We've already got a handful of folks that are interested. That's only like on the Facebook page, and then a bunch who have mentioned that they're not on Facebook, but they're going to do it. So it should be a good time.
Very nice. Thank you for that, Joe.
Yep.
Cece, you surprised me with a Something Red episode today.
Surprise! Look, I'm out there. I'm trying. You gotta give me a little bit of.
It's a good thing. That's my segue to have you tell me about it.
Oh yeah. No.
Really quick, CC emailed me to like help post it, and I was like, when was the last Something Red episode? And then I look, yeah, it's been a year. Hey, listen, CC, you're on the big show now. You got called up to the big leagues. You know, it's like hard to pull it together.
What's really sad is that I have 2 episodes like already prepped and edited. I just hadn't like polished them, and they've just been sitting there. So I'm like, great. That made me feel even worse about it. But yes, so there's a new episode of Something Red, and I talked to Valeska Griffiths, who is the editor of Grimm magazine, and she's also the editor over at Anatomy of a Scream. She has a new chapter in the new book, Scared Sacred, which kind of talks about horror movies and their ties to religion. Her chapter deals with witches. So if you're into that kind of thing, House of Leaves Publishing puts it out next year. So you can get a little teaser with the podcast.
There you go.
Very exciting. And was that I didn't check. Was that on the Patreon feed or the regular iTunes feed?
No, that's on the regular one. Patreon got it a day early.
Ooh, I
Mm.
literally had no idea. This is as newsful to me as everyone else. John, you also mentioned, just a heads up for people, that you were going to be finally catching up with the paywall.
Yeah. I did that today. So if
Okay.
you're hearing this, you're probably only seeing like 10 episodes in your feed anymore.
I would love to know how many were in there.
I basically hadn't done it since January. So
Oh, okay. I'll be honest, that was sooner. That was more recently than I thought you were going to say you hadn't done it since like 2014.
No. Usually I do it like every 6 months, or I try to do it every 3 months, and then I forget, and then I like go and do it, and then So
So if you can't find
it's
an
not
episode,
that it takes a long time. There's just like a bunch of steps. It's
So if you can't find an episode, that's what's going on. bloodygoodhorror.patreon, or is it Patreon?
Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
That one, what he just said.
Boom.
So there you go. All right, very exciting. Jojo, it is time, buddy. Please let us know what we're drinking tonight.
Beer guts.
No. Before we talk about this week's beer, I need to give a special shout out to our listener Reese, who is also on our Slack channel. He sent me a gaggle of beers from a brewery that apparently he's a part of, the Beer Research Institute out in Mesa, Arizona. I'm drinking their Urban Art right now, and had a couple of their others that I've been a big fan of so far. So I thank you very much for that. But we're here to talk about Calibre or Calibre.
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 Sabre.
That's Irish, isn't it?
Dunder Mifflin is a parson.
A fine Scottish film about a couple of guys that go out hunting and unfortunate events ensue. And in honor of their Scottish heritage and all their ways, I picked a fine beer from the folks over at Three Fords Brewery. That's in Munster, Indiana. And this is their beer, Robert the Bruce, which is a Scottish ale, which makes sense. This
A little on the nose, Joe. Little on the
yeah. Let's wait until we hear your awful word before we start talking out. Let me guess. Calibre. So Scottish ale are traditionally boiled a lot longer during the beer making process, or what they call the wort. So that caramelizes a lot more in the brewing kettle. Pretty much those sugars start to actually burn, and pretty much the same process as making caramel. So you get a lot of like biscuit flavor and like a super sweet, like caramelly-ish flavor in the beer. They're usually a little higher in alcohol content. This one comes in at 6.5, so not like super high, but definitely a little above your average, Budweiser or whatever you're usually drinking. Three Floyds, I've talked a ton about. I mean, Casey knows them well from being in Indiana. We get them here in Illinois. They're a great brewery. They put out a really, a lot of great beers. threefloyds.com is their website. Really, anything you pick up of theirs is going to be great. So I wholeheartedly recommend this one. And I wish I could remember, because it was years back. I think the last time we were all at Horror Hound, one of our listeners came up and actually gave me this beer. I think it was like the first beer I had from Three Floyds, because I was still living in Jersey at the time. And super good. Like, everything they do is great. So definitely check them out and enjoy.
Love it.
There.
Thank you, Joe. That's
thank
beer
you.
recommendation, something you get every week with Joe. Hey, Mark, welcome to the show.
Hi.
We just wanted to prove you were on before you leave.
I don't know. I was really toying around with the idea of that random Office reference being my only moment on the show. But...
Here's a question. Are you going to run the Bloody Good Horror annual 5K for rabies awareness?
I'm really thinking about it. I'm actually contemplating whether I could do it with a baby in a stroller.
Yep.
Just remember your
I
baby.
think you should do it in a baby carrier. Just
Yeah, a baby Bjorn. Just do it.
Yeah, can one of you fly to Tallahassee and put me in a baby carrier?
Yeah, I was about to say, you
I'm
should
on
have
it.
the baby in your carrier and then find a normal sized human being and you get in a baby carrier attached to that person.
Like a Russian nesting doll
Right,
baby
yeah, Russian
carriers.
doll.
Mark, I bet if you ask Evan, he would do it for you.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
true. Always so willing to carry.
And he's like 6 feet tall, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
Great. What a world.
All right, you didn't see this movie, right, Mark?
I didn't.
Pop
So-
quiz. Did you think it was Calibre or Caliber?
I think Calibre.
Yeah.
Dunder Mifflin is a part of Calibre. Is how it goes.
Cool. All right,
Yeah.
see you, buddy.
So glad to know everyone's still alive. John, I like your facial hair.
Do you want to hang out
Thanks,
for the
man.
word? Do you want to hang out for the word of the day since you're here?
Sure.
Cool. All right, guys, let's do it. It's time to take a break and discuss Calibre.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch. Main feature.
And we're back. John Schnorrs.
Mm-hmm.
Despite your appearance this week, you did go to Duke.
Yes.
You know
correct.
what I noticed actually during the last section was that you also have a super great white trash sunburn right now. I'm really wondering, like, is the top of your belly red?
No. I actually have the best suntan of my life right now.
I can see the
I am
neckline, dude. I can see it
Dude,
from here.
I'm just sweating bullets right now because it is like 100 degrees
Can
in
you
the room. that I'm
listen?
sitting in.
Just sit up a little bit and pull your shirt. Yeah, I can see the white.
There's no tan. There's no line. Come on, Eric.
You're
Eric
hilarious.
mean,
just wanted
like-
you to tug at his shirt.
I am the first one to throw John under the bus, but you look the most clean cut I think we've seen you in years. Like, I don't know if it's because you're seeing like your family or something, but like the patchiness of your facial hair is a little trimmed down. Like,
I think it's just the light. I think it's just the
I
light.
think the hat's holding everything together. I
Yeah,
think that's the
it
big
really
part of it.
is. When was the
Yeah,
last
put the
time?
hat back
When was
on.
the last time you when was the last time you showered, John?
Jesus,
Yesterday. I have not showered today.
you're shaking around like a meth addict. Like, I don't know what's going
I'm on vacation here, guys. Come on.
on. Jesus Christ, are you doing crank? Is that still a thing in Pennsylvania?
Wish. I'm in Maryland, so I think they have it around here.
Good old Cranksylvania.
Hey, John.
Yeah, Eric.
You don't show up like that to like Duke alumni meetings, I'm assuming.
I mean, if we had one,
You'd pull out
This week,
you'd
I
dust
probably would.
off your finest cravat for that, I assume.
Wear what you want as long as you wear white.
Oh shit.
All right, I'm not going to beat that. Hey, John, please bring us the word of the day. Nice work, Joe. Thanks for helping me bring that one home.
All right. Very good. I think Joe's going to appreciate this one. The word of the day is rifle.
Ooh,
R-I-F.
Oh, thanks. I've never heard that.
L-E.
Or is it Rifle?
I'm actually going to give you the definition of the verb rifle because I think we all know what a rifle is. So if you use rifle as a verb, it can mean two things. Well, actually a bunch of things. Make spiral grooves in a gun or its barrel to make a bullet spin and thereby have greater accuracy over a long distance. It can also mean to hit, throw, or kick a ball hard and straight. I didn't know that was an official definition, but I thought it was humorous. And also, obviously, search through something in a hurried way in order to find or steal something. Rifle comes to us from the French, rifler.
Ooh,
Rifle.
now you got me
Rifle.
attention.
Yeah, which means to graze or scratch.
makes
go.
sense.
The flow. All right. Hey, John, why don't you tell me about Calibre?
Calibre. Calibre, or Calibre, is the directorial debut of a gentleman named Matt Palmer.
I didn't know that. That's pretty impressive.
There you go. Yeah, he is from somewhere in the UK. I'm not going to guess at his origin, but he's a British person, potentially Scottish person, I guess. And the film is set in the Scottish Highlands. The backstory is that Vaughn and Marcus are two sort of lifelong friends. They met at a boarding school that they went to in high school. They are meeting up to go on a hunting trip, and they haven't seen each other in a long time. Vaughn is sort of the main character. He is, we learn at the very beginning of the film, expecting his first child with his fiance. So these guys, they head out into the Scottish Highlands. Marcus, the friend, has been there a bunch of times. I think it's like his uncle has taken him. He knows the local lord or something. Did you guys? I don't know if it wasn't like a big plot point, but he sort of like mentions that he cleared their hunting there with like Lord somebody.
Some dude he knew.
Yeah.
You know.
But they show up. They show up in this. It's a super small town. I can't remember the name of the main town, but they show up. they go out hunting, and I mean, I'm not going to call this a spoiler because it's really the inciting incident for the whole film. But while they're out hunting, Vaughn, who's sort of the main character, he sees the first deer. He's kind of the more hesitant. He's been hunting a lot less, but he does know how to handle a gun. He's like has a permit and everything. But he lines up a shot to shoot this deer, and as he pulls the trigger, the deer moves, and instead the bullet hits a child, like a, I don't know, 10 to 12-year-old probably.
I think they say he's 10 at one point, if I remember right.
Okay, so he accidentally kills the child. It's like a one-shot deal. He gets him right in the head, and it's like he immediately, runs down there. He starts like
the first thing he does is like his eye. Everybody freezes.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But he runs down, and the kid's father then walks up, like as Vaughn is sort of like standing there over the child, and the dad picks up the gun and turns it on Vaughn, sort of after he like grabs his child and like kind of has this like moment of mourning, and they're both kind of standing there kind of frozen, and then the father picks up the gun, points it at Vaughn, and they don't say anything, there's no dialogue, but just points this gun at him, and in this sort of moment where he's pointing shoots the father and kills him, and so now they've killed these two folks. They have this somewhat frenzied conversation, but Marcus, who's the one who planned the trip, sort of like is definitely the more domineering of the two, basically convinces Vaughn that they need to hide the bodies. So they do that. They then it's not an elaborate plan, but they do this whole, so they go through this whole, I don't know, plan to essentially ensure that they're seen other places, to try to hide the fact that they were hunting there. No one really knows where they were hunting. And they kind of like travel around a little bit. They head back to the town. They interact with a bunch of people in town, and then they, at that night, go back out and bury these bodies in fairly shallow graves.
Oh, no, the one was like 6 feet deep, but that didn't seem to matter.
They wanted to get 6 feet, but they're doing it with a like shovel. It's like raining, and they're in like the mountains. They get up to like their waist. Like there's no way.
Sharks is like, believe me.
Well, it's like somewhat important. It's like somewhat relevant. Yeah, and so what we basically, the rest of the film is really about the two of them being in this town and really kind of realizing. So first of all, they've like done this heinous thing. But now having to attempt to sort of survive in this town, it's very much it's a type of film that we've seen before. It's like, the city mouse goes to the country and like tries to survive. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much more we want to get into the plot. There's a couple things I skipped over.
Fun fact, for obvious reasons, this is the most terrifying form of horror for Schnars.
If
he hears anybody squeal like a pig, he just gets flashbacks. And
I literally said to my wife I wanted to go to this town. I was like, we gotta go visit.
Go stalking. Hey Cece, what'd you think about this?
So I had no idea about it. I hadn't seen previews or anything. I thought that it was pretty good. I would say that I enjoyed it because it's kind of a hard, stressful movie to watch. But I really liked some of the stylistic choices they made. Like John kind of mentioned, there's several times where there's no dialogue, or there is dialogue, but there's just this silence. And there's this real emphasis on how heavy the situation is, or just kind of that atmospheric amount of dread. So, yeah, I mean, it was worth the watch, but I don't think that I necessarily liked it.
Casey.
I too knew absolutely nothing about this movie going into it, and holy shit, is this movie hard to watch. And that's not to say it's a bad movie or poorly shot or anything like that. The tension is absolutely insane in this movie. It's hard to sit still throughout this thing.
Yeah.
There is some really great moments in this movie. There's sometimes it feels like this movie's really long, but I think it's just because you need that deep breath to be able to step away and say, "Oh shit," and kind of gather yourself and everything. I think the lead actors were great. There were some great shots. These guys did a really good job acting with their faces and their facial expressions. There was some stuff with the main character, the blonde guy, with the look in his face, and it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah. Basically, from henceforth, we'll be referring to them as good friend and bad friend.
Yeah.
Jojo.
I remember seeing the trailer for this. I think probably someone posted it in the Slack group, and I was pretty interested. And I ended up liking this a lot. I think based on what most folks, with the exception of maybe you, Eric, I think I liked this more than the rest of you. I thought the tension was, especially once we get to like a certain part where we'll kind of talk about where people in the town, I don't think I'm really giving anything away, but like start to figure out that these guys had something to do with the father and son disappearing. Like your stomach's in knots for like the rest of the movie, and there's like still like 45 minutes when that all starts to unwind. I thought the characters were great. I thought the two main guys were great. We kind of talked about over email that we didn't really have like sympathy for him. Although I will say like Vaughn, the blonde guy who is the one who actually shoots the kid, I felt a lot of sympathy for, because I felt like he was just kind of being pulled along by Marcus, even though he is the one that, actually shot the kid. But I felt like he was pretty remorseful and kind of wanted to do the right thing. And Marcus kind of talked him out of that. But I don't know, like I was excited when I found out this was the first time this guy had written and directed a movie, because I'm really interested to see like what he does next.
Yeah,
I really
That's
like
awesome.
For sure. I think the work he's done here is pretty impressive.
Mhm.
Hey, John, what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't know a ton about this. Like I mentioned, someone had kind of told me about it and actually like sort of recommended it to me as a Netflix watch. So I was pretty interested to check it out. I probably fall closer to the CC camp. Well, I don't know. I really liked it. I think it is very well directed.
Yeah, definitely.
I think across the board, like all of the acting is really strong, right? So the two main characters are really good. It's a tough thing because you don't have anyone to really root for in this film. I mean, Joe sort of hit like the Vaughn character is sympathetic, but even he does things where you're like, Jesus, and so you don't have a ton to hang your hat on. And then you have all the townspeople who are even the like sort of like best of the townspeople is this guy Logan. And he's kind of the de facto mayor. He basically is part of this family that runs this town, is like the way they describe it, or keeps the peace, I believe he says. And even Logan is like vaguely threatening throughout the entire film.
Well, it's really interesting the way the film plays with that, though, too. Like the ways that they are potentially threatening.
So it's a tough film, but it's a tough thing to sit through an hour and 40 minutes where like you don't really have anyone to kind of hang with for most of the film. I would say that overall I enjoyed it. I think there's definitely some editing that could have benefited. So I felt like the pacing got a little wonky at times. We can talk about sort of the way it was structured, but I don't know. It was, as a Netflix thing, like I was pretty impressed, I would say.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I think it's super impressive for a first-time director. As Schnars was saying, acting is fantastic. These two guys, the townspeople, I think you watching the beginning, you're not really sure where it's going. And there seemed to be potentially a couple of American Werewolf in London, like, kind of allusions, I felt like, when they kind of walk into the bar at first, like... The sign kind of reminded me of the sign of the place in that movie. I don't know.
I think that's just how bars are.
I don't.
Like,
yeah.
so
well, is it just that's whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to sort of like more rural parts of the UK, and like we went on like a bike tour, and we stopped at pubs, and they were exactly.
But if
like
I don't know, it's funny. It kind of feels like in the beginning, and I hadn't seen the trailer, so I didn't know. Oh, is this going to be a weird cult thing? Are we going to get into some kind of supernatural jam like that other Netflix thing we did?
It's the ritual, like it did.
Yeah.
I think it's just because they're in the woods, it does have sort of like a similar vibe to it.
They get into that hunting scene, and he starts lining up this shot, and it's like, it's telegraphed, but I don't think in a bad, like I think it's telegraphed in a way that just ramps the tension up because he's aiming. You spoil this already, right, Schnars? What happens here?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the first
by
20
the way,
minutes of the
I
movie.
should just say that like
They showed in the trailer,
like,
like they show that that's what happens.
See, I'm glad I didn't watch the trailer then because like I kind of knew something was gonna happen and I just assumed he was gonna hit somebody. But when a kid popped up, I like audibly gasped and was like, I just think it's a really effective, well done scene. And part of it is the movie has these great moments of silence where, like, yeah, they run to the kid, but first there's a good 15 seconds of almost silence where they're just like, they're just frozen. They're like literally frozen in shock. And it's such a great scene. And one of these instances where these two leads get to really like show their acting chops. But just like, I think gutted is the word I would describe just from that scene alone. And then for the next half an hour, you are just watching them kind of go down deeper and deeper into the darkness, so to speak, like the friend kind of dragging both of them down, trying to cover it up and doing things that would just absolutely destroy your soul if you had to do them. Then it shifts again, and this is like Schnars mentions like having kind of some issues with the plotting and pacing and stuff, but like I actually thought it was really interesting how there's kind of these distinct quadrants of the movie, right? It's like weird, creepy tension in the beginning where we don't know what's going to happen. Then it's the like intense aftermath. Then it's the cover up, and then it shifts to this third act part that I think is incredibly tense, where they're trying not to get found out, and they're about to leave the town, and something happens that I think is actually like really well set up in the first act that keeps them in the town. You know, it's like one of those movies where it's very economical in its plot points, and like everything comes back to have a purpose, the overall plot, which I always really appreciate.
Yeah, I'll say the third act was definitely my favorite of the movie. Like it was really, really well done.
Well, and even though they're tough characters to have like sympathy for, I think that it's so intense. Like, because you're watching a movie and they're the main characters, right? You like, even if you're conflicted about it, you don't really want them to get caught because I don't know, it's because these dudes are just these dudes in mourning.
Like, why am I watching this?
Well, no, but like these townspeople in mourning are really terrifying. Even though like, and again, another like this movie has so many layers. They're not villains. They're villains by virtue of the situation that they're put in, but they're not really bad people. They're just sort of people surviving and doing what you could understand people in the situation might act like.
As soon as they go back out, and so all right, like you hit on a couple of things I wanted to touch on, but like as soon as they go back out and dig the grave and hide the bodies, like and this is where there's really a separation between Vaughn and Marcus, good friend and bad friend, because good friend is very upset to the point where he can't even finish the job essentially, versus like bad friend is basically like he has like extra worries because it was his gun that was used to do the killing. Like he is the one who I guess like got like set it all up. Like he just feels like he's more on the hook versus good friend. I don't know. Like he also just is more morally, I don't know, corrupted. So there's that break.
He does cocaine.
He does, yeah. I mean, they set up. Yeah, he's also the one.
Joe,
like,
he does cocaine with ladies.
Yeah, he sleeps with a friend, or he sleeps with a girl in the town. It's my question to you guys was: you mentioned you really like the third act. When would you draw that line? Right, like. Is it
I think
post them finding
it's kind of, to me, like, I mean, it starts to ramp up. In some ways, it starts when their tires get slashed, but to me, there's this really clear hit on the accelerator at the bonfire scene, because that's the point.
I would say the bonfire.
Yeah, that's the point at which there starts to be whispers in the town about these people not coming back, and even though it hasn't been voiced, there's clearly suspicion towards them. And it's brilliant because they set it up as like, this is a hunting town, and there's this whole plot thread about how they're not doing well economically because like some other thing opened, it's taking business away. So like they know that they're the only outsiders that have been in this town, right? So it's like,
well,
if
I mean,
something...
they blatantly say they're the only ones hunting that weekend.
Right. Yeah. So if something fishy happens, it's like, it's going to instantaneously go on them. But the way that they don't jump to just saying, you did it. It's like the way this slow build happens and they make them go out on the search with them. That whole scene to me is like is really brilliant.
Yeah.
So
It's the sideways glances that are in that bonfire scene.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
they're right before they come up and ask him to go with them, and you see some of the townspeople you haven't seen before that are just the regulars in the background, and you see them turning and looking over their shoulder, and it just really gets on your nerves.
It's
I
funny.
mean, it's tough too because like you don't know if these guys are just being paranoid or
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
the town like legitimately wants to help. There's another scene that's like that later that I really love.
Well, and I mean, I really like so when the scene like Eric mentioned, when they get their tires slashed, and you know the plot point from the beginning of the movie comes back when they go to the pub and the guy who punches the bad friend in the face is made to apologize to him, and there's this really tense conversation, and that conversation about the plot point from the first act kind of changes to
like
the like mayor's nephew being missing.
Yeah.
There's a slip up that the bad friend makes that's just
oh
like
yeah,
I mean, like when it like you know it's going to happen, but when it happens, you're just like, oh god, like you can feel your stomach drop for them.
Yeah.
There's another scene too, like before all that goes down, that I think is really brilliant, which is the dinner scene, and I think it happens after they come back to town after killing the
it
killer
is.
initially.
But before they do before they hide the
Right,
bodies.
and they
Yeah.
end up having dinner with these two townie guys. The one who kind of seems like the ringleader a little bit, or like the mayor, sort of, as John said, and like it's really
Well,
tense.
his
It's
nephew, right?
really tense
yeah,
because
he's the one who disappears.
he's kind of grilling him, but then it turns out that they actually think that that bad friend could help them out economically and get some business in there, and so
Yeah.
he's pitching them like suddenly he's not scary. Suddenly he's like
A little sad
he's
almost.
groveling to this guy a little bit to help them bring business in. But meanwhile, there's this other dynamic where the two characters are just trying to keep their shit together because of what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, just like take the guy's business card, have your drink, like, you know. But they bring him these like really rare prime ribs, like just swimming in blood, and they both are just like sick to their stomach. It
was venison. It was deer.
Yeah, it's just like it's so brilliant the way that.
So I love the tire the tire cutting scene. That to me is the midpoint of the film, because that's when there's a chance for this movie to go one way, or they think they're going to get out, and that's when it kind of sets up the way the rest of the film's going to work. I guess my biggest problems with the pacing, and again, like I don't mean to like beat this, but I did want to talk about it. Like it's actually after they get caught, because the movie goes for another like 20 minutes after that all the stuff goes down, because the woods, right, they're out in the woods and they're doing the searching for the bodies, and that's probably the tensest part of the film. And so you're like ratcheting, and then they get caught, and then there's still another, it's probably 15 to 20 minutes. And to me, that part of the film, and like I know I'm jumping like probably further ahead than we want to get to right now, but like even the final shot of the movie, maybe not the last scene, but the final shot, it's a little too much, if that makes sense, right? Like that's where they could have.
I kind of love the final shot. I also felt like I really liked the kind of quote unquote negotiating scene. Like I thought that was super crazy.
Well,
The interrogation, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Like I loved that scene where, so they catch them and they pretty much tie him up, and then at one point they're like, they go to Vaughn, the guy who shot the kid, like, all right, tell us what happened. And then we see them talking, but you don't actually hear what they're saying. I love that fact because based on what happens, and we'll spoil it, like, you don't know if Vaughn at that point is just like ratting out his friend or like what he's actually saying. And I kind of loved that whole ambiguous aspect of it where like you don't know what's happening.
But also we know what happened, and so it's in some ways kind of just like a really dramatic creative flourish where it's almost more gut-wrenching just leaving it in your head and just watching his emotional acting, you know, like,
well, again, like, because it's how well he acts with his
what
face.
He's saying happened to these guys.
Yeah, but it also comes down to how well that guy Vaughn acts with his face, because you could tell too, even though we didn't hear the dialogue, I felt pretty confident that he was telling them the truth of what actually happened with the kid, the deer ducked and stuff like that, and was telling him what his friend did and everything, and wasn't really playing it up because he looked heartbroken.
I just assumed he threw his friend under the bus hardcore.
Well, I mean, I think that he probably emphasized that it was his friend's idea to cover it up, but to kind of mention the pacing that John brought up, like I at first kind of felt annoyed by the pacing too, but the longer that I'm away from it, it really hammers home for me that like real life type of situation, because like you don't know, like there's all these moments of like just this heavy setting that you don't know what's happening and you don't know what's going to happen next, but you're just kind of having to sit with what you've done. So I actually really like that now that I'm kind of absorbing it, but in the moment I can see that it's a little slow, or
I mean,
kind of.
I think for me it was just that like I don't think the tension for me let up for the entire movie, and so I was so like butt clenchy the whole time that I did.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really have time to think about the pacing because I was just like, I need relief from this butt clenching.
I mean, this movie, I could see I had some problems with the pacing at first too, but as I look back on it, though, I realized this whole movie is like the perfect description of my anxiety issues brought to life. I mean, it feels like anxiety.
Are you out like accidentally murdering people all the time?
Yeah. What are you trying to get off your chest?
It's only been a month or two, so don't worry about it.
No, but I understand what Casey is saying. It's just like
yeah,
that.
no, for sure.
Yeah.
I understand.
And I am nitpicking to be fair. Like I'm trying to kind of, but like I guess Cece, the way you just said it actually makes a ton of sense, right? Like in a lot of ways, I probably was expecting or wanting this movie to go in the genre direction,
Sure.
you know, and every time they have that opportunity, they actually like go toward realism or naturalism or whatever you call it, right? And that's a different movie. And look, like I just would say that the script doesn't. It is. Eric mentioned, like I think the script structurally like builds on itself really well, but by the time you get to the end, just the way that ending unfolded for me, it could have been tightened up a little. I mean, the way like. I'm not sure what I was supposed to take away from it, if that makes sense. Like, because it seems, and Eric, you sort of mentioned, like the final sequence, if you liked it a lot, like, I guess I'm not sure what it's supposed to mean to me, you know, because they wanted it to mean something, but it felt like almost a little too forced when you could have gotten the same impact by just ending it with the final murder, if that makes sense. You know, like
I agree with you because I'm not really sure what I was supposed to take away from the very ending.
I do agree that it's a bold choice, but I think at least partially because of how good of an actor that dude is, I thought that last image was pretty striking.
Yeah. I think what they're trying to say is if you shoot a kid in the face, you should probably tell someone quickly.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I like the
you're
thought.
You're going to be sad about it.
Make even worse decisions and end up having to live with it.
The thought
it's only downhill once you shoot a kid in the face.
You're going to have a bad time.
The thought I had
she had a bad day
during this movie was like...
I hate that song. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I have this threshold. I have this threshold when I'm watching a movie where... like the things happening to the characters, right? I'm basically watching and thinking like, at what point could you just say goodbye to the rest of your life? Like, okay, I lost one finger, like maybe I'll keep going. But then like you see a dude lose your hand, you're like, well, he might as well just jump off that roof because it's, and like at some point.
I thought that there was a moment when Good Friend was getting interrogated that like he embodied the fact that he had given up.
But that's what I thought was interesting, was that the film forces you to confront that notion because you're watching his humanity basically get destroyed for over 90 minutes. And then in this final scene, you literally are forced to look at what it looks like to try to go back to a normal life after that has happened to you, which is the problem of every horror movie, right? Like, you know, the slasher movie, all your friends get killed, and then you're smiling and laughing at the end because you survived, and you're like, well, it's just another school year,
I mean, that makes sense. I like that interpretation of the ending.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that movie, The Ritual, we were talking about. Like, he leaves the woods, that guy gets out, like, spoiler alert, I guess, but, like, then what? Like, what does he go back home to now? Like,
well, I mean, that's why when he leaves the forest, he just starts screaming because it's like, what else do you do? So I get it. I mean, I like that.
Blind, like maybe the fiance should have just picked him up, cut to black. You had a bad day, starts playing, and then like,
no, I'm gonna stab you
because you
straight
had
in the
a
mouth.
bad day. You shot a kid's face.
Wow.
I think Eric had one of the best points in the email. Just because the fact that the townspeople were not horror movie people was the point that Eric had made out. They're real people, and it really adds an element to this that I mean, I've known a lot of small town people, and I don't know that
You're
they
gonna say
necessarily.
Murder
I don't know
people.
that they necessarily go out on a revenge plot like this, but at the same time, you could see small town people
No.
sticking up for each other.
Like,
I
too.
assume this happens in small towns like every weekend.
But like,
Is this not a Noblesville like situation?
Noblesville's not that small. Thank
the
you.
point being that in a less serious movie, right? Because this is like a very serious, dramatic endeavor, I think. And a less serious, like more horror-y movie, the townspeople turn out to be psycho cultists, and they burn them on the bonfire at the end, right? But like,
Yeah.
they're actually really layered in a really interesting way. And again,
Mhm.
like they're villains in certain spots for sure, but really only because of the circumstances that they're put in by the main characters. And so you really, it's like hard to feel bad for them because you're like, well, they're only doing this because of what you guys did.
their
Yeah.
motives aren't evil.
Should we
Right.
talk about like the ending? Because I feel like that's
well.
a
Even
good
if
segue.
we're going to talk about it vaguely, I was very impressed because I wasn't expecting that to be the ending.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I
wait,
think-
really quick
yeah.
before we get there, Cece, do you want to give a ranking on the animal violence in the film?
Oh.
Just because we talked about it on email?
I mean, I'm glad you told me it was coming because I'd have been
Okay.
really mad.
Keep in mind, before the dog gets it, a kid gets shot in the face.
Well, and the dog is also
Also,
No,
you don't.
no.
I mean, you see the gun shot and or shoot, and then you see the kid fall over. He's not screaming. There's not blood gushing out of him. He's not making this yelping noise because if that had happened, I would have also been. Super
I mean,
pissed.
listen, the funny thing is,
Hey.
Cece thought I was like warning her about that scene. When I just meant the tension of that whole searching scene, like, and I just
Oh.
referred to it as a dog scene. I mean, like, it's kind of crazy when the dog gets killed, but it's like, it's not that big a deal, and I'm pretty like fairly sensitive to that stuff.
Nothing for nothing, that dog had a shitty life to begin with. So
Well,
Yeah.
it did. I mean, I will agree. It was stuck in basically a closet, but
it's in a better place.
you know, it was like a 5.
The dog had a bad day.
All right. No, I mean, yeah, it was just you had asked about it before. I didn't know if my warning was sufficient for you to, get through it.
Yes, I mean, I just like to mute it because I don't want to hear the yelping, and then I'm okay.
Yeah, there we are.
So
Okay.
the ending?
Yeah.
The end.
So
The ending was me realizing that this movie is called Calibre
Mm.
because it comes up full screen at the end.
I mean, Joe, would you have pulled the trigger more or less easily than he pulled the trigger?
Oh, there would have been no hesitation. I mean, like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
But
I
you're
think
already
it's
a
just.
parent.
I think it's
Like-
just a lot of like them trying to give you that final bit of, I don't know, sympathy for the guy by making him be so hesitant. But it seems like kind of where he was mentally that he might have jumped to it a little quicker.
Well, the other thing I thought was kind of interesting, not to jump back, but usually with these type of movies, they set it up that these guys maybe haven't seen each other in a bit.
Right, that
But
there's like
usually, and again, not to jump back to like Ritual, but like you get a lot of strain between those relationships. Whereas this one, you kind of get like, oh, they just fell out of touch because this guy's been busy. Like, you kind of get the idea that maybe this guy's coke problem was an issue, but like there's no like hard feelings between them. So that does kind of make that last scene like a lot more tense.
Yeah, and there is a moment, and this is another thing I think they did a great job in this movie, is the characterization that they do is not heavy-handed at all. So there's a moment where early in the film when they meet the two girls, the one that good friend is talking to, Iona, who ends up being sort of like somewhat of a character in the film herself. He's like explaining to her that him and Marcus like met each other because his parents basically like dropped him at boarding school and then left the country, and that Marcus was basically his like protector. So there's an element there of like, it's not just that they're like I don't know, they have a tighter
History,
bond in some ways.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right,
I don't know.
guys.
I agree though. I mean, at that point you just gotta do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Was there anything else you guys wanted to say about this movie? While I load the bumper because it's not ready.
I still like feel very strongly that I would like to visit the Scottish Highlands. So
Yeah, they seem like they'd be cool.
yeah.
I mean,
I think I'd have to
Yes.
have my venison steaks.
well, actually, it's
cooked a
funny.
little more well
it's
done.
funny you say it though, John, because it is like cinematography wise, it's a really. It's really beautiful in a lot of ways, but also like this place seems very oppressive. It's like it's so dreary
very-
all the time.
Yeah, it's very gray. Like it looks like it's been raining constantly. Like
Yeah.
it's almost has like a Snowden
All but
murders.
New Yorker.
Snowtown Murders. Yeah.
Like it has like that sort of like grayish, just like
Yeah.
does the sun ever fucking shine in this place?
Yeah. All right, guys. Would you recommend Calibre, John?
Did John freeze up?
John is gone. John got unfriended here. Casey,
Yes, I would
back.
recommend it, but you got to be in the mood.
Cece,
Yes, I know I said I didn't like it, but it's still worth a watch.
Joe,
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
Schnars. Oh, he was back and then he was gone.
Yeah.
I like the first freeze frame better.
What's
It
going
looks so
on?
dreamy right now.
John, you keep disappearing there, buddy.
Is it better? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sure. But did you?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Would you recommend this?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
No?
Yes, I
What?
heard you. Yes, I did.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys.
And that,
Let's
folks, is how you build tension.
let's nice. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Ray Peterson's new neighbors are the kind of folks you'd expect in the burbs. They're quiet,
No one goes in, no one comes out.
industrious,
Your neighbors are murdering people.
handy,
I'm going over the fence, and I'm not coming back till I find a dead body.
and to get on their bad side, well, he'd rather die first. Tom Hanks in an exclusive you won't see on HBO or Cinemax, The Burbs. Sunday on Showtime.
This is Ashley C. Williams from The Human Centipede, and you're listening to Bloody Good Horror Podcast.
Send your emails to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or hit us up on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And don't forget to pick up back episodes of the show at podcast.bloodygoodhorror.com.
And we are back. Who's doing tweets tonight?
Tweet. John,
Yeah.
do you want to, or I got them in front of me?
We got no email, info@bloodygoodhorror.com.
Go ahead. You got it.
We're also
Alright.
on Twitter.
Yeah, we use two different hashtags. First one being BGH Classics. If you're listening to an old episode and something tickles your fancy, you can toss it up on the Twitters and use BGH Classics, and we'll read it on the show, like these two that we got from Skizbot. This is John to Eric. There are so many listeners right now that know way more about you and your urination habits than they ever chose to know. That was episode 26, The Orphanage.
26. Wow.
26.
I mean, now they know way more because if they watch the pre-show, they know I go every time before the show.
Yeah, well, we all do.
Like clockwork.
Another one from Skizbot. This is Eric wondering why Vigo wants to possess a baby in Ghostbusters 2. If he has the power to possess someone, why doesn't he just possess a full-grown dude and come back that way?
Right?
And this being my first episode, Joe replies, Sigourney Weaver breast milk, question mark? Episode 78, Ghostbusters 1 and 2. One from our good friend Monica at Mi Corazon Mi Amor. Don't get elitist with me, Schnars. I'm also from the East Coast. I can outsnob anyone. Eric, episode 46, Quarantine.
It's true.
And then one more from Mi Corazon Mi Amor. Just killing a bunch of animals isn't enough for me. That's Schnars. From episode 77, Rob Zombie's Halloween. For more proof on Schnars' synapses is a maniac from the same episode. I liked the screaming, apparently you said, John, on episode 77. So you're
That's
pretty
like-
fucked in the head, buddy.
When people give us BGH classics from that far back, it's like I don't even know who those people are.
Yeah.
It's like a dispatch from a different universe, if that makes sense.
It's uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
We also use the hashtag AskBGH. That's if you've got a question or a comment that you want to throw in here, you can post that up. First one from @MarcusUC26. He says, I just saw Slender Man movie, and it was even more disappointing than I thought it would be. After viewing it, where would you say the film ranks in terms of worst horror movies of the last decade? I don't think any of us saw it, did we?
Mm-mm.
No, I did not. I mean,
No.
like back in the day when we were doing like every single horror release, probably would have caught it. But I could see us doing it on video, even though it sounds terrible. I'm curious.
Yeah,
least.
I feel like we kind of got it when it comes out on DVD. All right, next up from @Skizbot. Could you have done it? You know, the thing at the end? I'm honestly not sure. I think we all admitted that, yeah, we could.
Oh, in this movie? Oh.
Yeah.
The thing at the end?
No, some other movie that we watched.
Man. Yeah, I mean, I guess at that point, if you... So much of what befalls... I mean, literally all of what befalls Good Friend is because of Bad Friend's actions. So I feel like I could get there.
I was waiting for Bad Friend to try to like say like to nod his head or give like some indication, and he didn't, which like again trends towards realism here.
Yeah, you're right. Because the movie thing would be for him to be all valiant and try to get back a little sympathy by being like, "Do it, mate."
Yeah.
He'd say,
I agree. I was waiting for that also.
He'd say,
definitely would have called him mate.
He'd say mate, yeah.
Or bloke, maybe. What do you say?
Bloke.
Tallywhacker.
Do it, you fucker.
And then actually last, so we don't have a ton of tweets tonight either. This is from @Swilson833, and she asks, any thoughts on the Assassination trailer or Assassination Nation trailer? Not sure if it's horror or not.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I'm actually really interested in it.
I think it qualifies for being on this show, whether or not it is horror or not.
Which movie is this?
The trailer.
Assassination Nation.
I haven't seen this, but it sounds right up my alley.
Whatever. The last movie I saw in theaters, I saw a trailer for it, but I've only seen it that once. I don't feel like it's getting much.
Yeah,
I've never heard
screen
of it.
time.
It's pretty much like The Purge kind of breaks out, right? In high school.
Kind of. I don't.
Oh,
it looks
okay. I got it.
I'm interested. I think it looks pretty good.
It
looks like Spring Breakers without that gross meth head guy. That was the.
It's set in Salem. It says
this was like it was one of the big movies out of Sundance this year. I think it might have, like one of the highest.
The storyline says this is from IMDb, so I assume the filmmakers put this up. This is 1,000% a true story about how the quiet, all-American town of Salem absolutely lost its mind. And then the tagline is, "You asked for it, America."
Oh, this is America.
Nice.
Don't check out slipping up. That's it for tweets. Also, I'm so dull. Yeah.
You missed. Did you do
the dog days of summer, guys?
Did you do the BGH classics? Because there was a couple funny ones I didn't. I'm either exposing myself as not listening to you 5 minutes ago, Joe, or like
that wouldn't be a first.
There was one from Skizbot today that had a funny Sasha Grey joke in it that made me laugh.
Oh, weird. Let me look again. Maybe they didn't come up for some reason.
Maybe it's just on my Twitter.
No,
I don't think that was from Skizbot. I think it was from someone else.
No, I remember seeing it too, but I clicked on latest, and it did not show up for me for some reason.
I should have it in my mentions here if you want me to read it.
Are you sure that they tagged it right? It does happen.
No, they tagged it BGH Classic.
See, that'll do it.
So this is I totally out of context. Schnar says, "Oh, he did a movie with a porn star, right?" And Eric says, "Sasha Grey," and John says, "Oh, you're familiar." And then apparently I said, "Oh, no." So that, I believe we're talking about Soderbergh there, and that was that called, Schnars? The Girlfriend Experience?
Yeah, Girlfriend Experience.
Yeah.
That movie was unwatchable.
Yeah, so there you go.
So there you go.
You know what is watchable? Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah. You know, what I might recommend, CC, the American one is good, but try the British one, because the American one is super over the top reality showed, whereas the British one is way less over the top. You still get the same garbage kitchens and bad people, but then at the end, like it looks like he's actually trying to help them, whereas like in the American one, it's more like he's trying to murder them with yelling. You know what I mean? And they just like the voiceover. I used to catch it because I used to get the like BBC America or whatever. I would give it a shot if you can find it.
Okay.
You know what I'll recommend since we've got some time here? I am 100% hooked on Celebrity Big Brother UK.
Yeah.
It is unreal. Kirstie Alley's on. Natalie from the Bad Girls Club is on. It is amazing. It's all on YouTube. You can watch it. I've watched like 4 hours of it in the past 2 days.
What is
Hey Joe, here's one for you. Here's some trivia for you, because the whole presidential theme they have going with Celebrity Big Brother UK is because originally they were going to have Stormy Daniels on, but she couldn't make it.
Yeah,
but she may still come back as an add-in later.
It is amazing.
What's 2018 Kirstie Alley like?
She's seen better days.
Yeah.
Not super good.
Haven't we all seen better days in 2018?
Not BCC.
CC.
Oh.
CC with the realest comment of the night about a really real ass movie. So there you go. info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. Joe, how do people run with us if they want to run with us in spooky season?
October 27th, 28th, just email bloodygoodhorror@gmail.com with a screenshot of whatever your running app is, and go to bloodygoodhorror.com or our Facebook page for more info.
Joe, do you have a good recommendation for a free app I can use once and then delete after the race?
I'm a big fan of Runkeeper, mostly because like you can do intervals and everything on that. But I know a bunch of people have been talking on the Slack channel the ones that they like too. But that's
I use the Nike one. It's fine.
Is Runkeeper free?
Runkeeper is free, and also they actually have a few different voices you can pick, which are pretty funny. One's just like, oh, you'd like this. It's a guy with like a Boston accent, like, that tells you the times and stuff. It's not bad.
Can you change it to tell you distance?
Yeah, you can modify it anything, like to do whatever the fuck you want.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out. Okay. Yeah. And don't forget Patreon, guys. Every week you could be watching a live streaming video of this here show. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. Also, you get access to the back catalog, which is now a little fuller thanks to Schnars' diligence. What else do you get, Schnars? You get Slack. You get access to our Slack and our incredible,
you get episodes of Something Red when I put them out.
Yeah.
Yep. All of the spin-offs.
Twice yearly Eric shows.
We're working on some new swag, so
hot.
You may be seeing that as well.
Love it, guys. It was like 70 here today, and for the first time, I felt like spooky season is almost upon us.
Yeah, it's getting dark at like 8 instead of 8:50.
Although that's kind of a bummer because I'm running at night, so now it's dark. Although it's less hot, I guess. But
it's darker later in the morning too, so it doesn't make a difference either.
Yeah, there you go. So never mind. This sucks. It's worse.
Everything's fucking miserable.
No, I'm just kidding. All right,
2018.
guys. 2018. That's the tagline of 2018. Yeah. I would like to take a plea deal so you can just put me in jail and I never have to think about anything ever again. That's going to be topical only if you're listening to the show today. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the show, guys. That's going to do it for Calibre, whatever you want to call it. And we'll talk to you next week.
See you.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Guys, this was the regular crew. You should be able to handle goodbyes without any problem.
It's been a while.
Yeah. I forget that I go first. I'm sorry.
We had a bad day. Didn't say goodbye. We screwed it all up.
All right, Casey. Bye-bye. It's out again.
Bye-bye.